Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our first chapter of Think and Grow Rich, one of the best books of changing people's lives ever written, ever. And I'm super excited to welcome to the panel tonight Rebecca Weisenhouse, who's going to be speaking first on what she got out of the chapter, and Christine Duvall, who this book has been a part of her life for like 20 years. So I'm so looking forward to some insights from Christine and then myself. My name is Marianne Stone. So take it away, Rebecca.
Thank you. I am so excited to share chapter 1 of this book with you. And I know some of us have the old version and some of us have the newer version. And that's okay, because I'm really excited for all of us to share and all of us to learn. And so those of us that have the old book are going to be able to share some things with those of you that have the new book and vice versa. So here we go. This chapter blew me away. I'm so excited to read this entire book. But chapter 1, basically it was you decide. Do you want to work for someone or do you want to work with someone? We start off with Mr. Barnes, who didn't want to work for Mr. Edison. He wanted to work with him as a partner. So Edison gave him the opportunity because Edison saw a man who made up his mind to stand by until he succeeded. Barnes was determined to remain ready until he received what he was seeking. He was not giving up. His attitude was, I came here to do this, and I'm going to accomplish this even if it takes me the remainder of my life. You see, when you are truly ready to receive, it's in your appearance. Just as people can see your clothes that you're wearing, they can see your commitment, they can see your confidence, they can see your eagerness, and they can see your happiness. And Edison saw all of that in Mr. Barnes. You adopt a definite purpose and you stand by it. You can succeed by knowing what you want, having determination to stand by your desire, and having initiative, faith, and the will to win. What you think about, you bring about. If you believe it's possible, you are absolutely right. If you believe it's impossible, you are absolutely right. Sometimes the opportunity you desire comes from a different direction, maybe even an unexpected direction, and sometimes it's actually disguised as a misfortune. Barnes wanted to partner with Edison, and he did. He accomplished that. However, the way it came about and happened was not how Barnes had expected it, but he saw his opportunity and ran full speed ahead with it. One of the most common causes of failure is the habit of quitting when you are overtaken by temporary defeat. I will never stop because people say no to the gift I am offering them. Because let's face it, you will face temporary defeat and failures before success comes into your life. In most cases, the greatest success stories came a few steps after temporary defeat. And I say temporary because these people chose not to give up but to keep going. Our misfortunes and failures are actually blessings in disguise as they teach us to keep on keeping on no matter how the going may be. Analyze your experiences and situations and find the lessons they teach you. And with that, I want to share some experiences with you, and I think you might find some of these names familiar. The first one I'm going to start with is Walt Disney. He was fired by a news editor because he lacked imagination. He then went on and started his first animation company that went bankrupt. Did he face temporary defeat? Absolutely. Did he give up? Well, if you look around the world and you see Disneyland and you see Disney World and you see Euro Disney and there's Mickey and Minnie and everything everywhere, I think not. Bill Gates, his first company was called Trafodata, and it failed miserably. Their first demo didn't work out as planned. It had a lot of glitches, and financiers were not interested. But it was that failure that led Gates and Paul Allen to create the products for Microsoft, and he is now the richest man in the world. And I'm probably going to butcher this first name, and I'm sorry, but you'll recognize the last name. Koichiro Honda. Toyota turned him down for an engineering job. In his unemployment, he started making scooters and then opened a small business. He combined his marketing skills along with his engineering skills and built his own brand, which is today as known as the Honda Company. Elvis Presley, after performing at Nashville's Grand Ole Opry, Elvis was told by the concert hall manager that he should return to Memphis and drive trucks, which was his previous occupation. Oprah Winfrey was fired as an evening newscaster because she couldn't sever her emotions from her stories, and we all know where she went on. Akira Wang, she failed to make the U.S. Olympics ice skating team, and because of that failure, she decided to go into fashion. She began as an editor at Vogue, and when there was an opening for editor-in-chief, she applied for that position, but she was turned down for that position. Because she was turned down for that position, she then went to work for Ralph Lauren as a bridal designer. And today she's one of the leading bridal designers with a multi-million-dollar company. So you see, these people all face failure. They all face temporary defeats. But they all got back up on the horse and they all kept riding. And they all are very big success stories that I think each and every one of us can recognize their names. Riches begin with a state of mind, with a definiteness of purpose. So you need to get rid of the word impossible. Do not speak it, do not think it. Because if you think it's impossible, it is impossible. You will never, ever, ever achieve it. So many people know the rules of this will not work, that can't be done. But instead of living that like society does and thinking the way that society does in a negative way, step out of that box and start thinking and believing that this will work, this can be done, and dang it, I'm going to be the one to do it. Success comes to those who become success conscious. Failure comes to those who are self-conscious, who doubt themselves, and who are failure conscious. We have the power to control our thoughts. So again, what you think about, you bring about. It's the magnetic force. If you think negatively, you're going to magnetize negative. If you think positively, you're going to magnetize positive. You are basically the same as the 5 people that you hang out with. I don't know if you've ever heard that, but that's why I like to surround myself with positive people. I like to surround myself with believers. I like to surround myself with people who have goals, who are on a mission, who are, I'm going to do this. I'm going to accomplish this no matter what. As we go through this book and examine the principles, be open-minded. You know, next week we're starting with principle 1, which is desire and knowing what you want. So I'm going to turn it over to Christine. I'm so excited to hear what she has to say. I just absolutely loved this chapter, and I'm so excited to dig into the next chapter. So take it away, Christine.
Thanks, Rebecca. You covered a lot of ground. You know, I was sitting here thinking, because Marianne said 20 years. It's actually been 30 years since I first read this book. I went and saw Dave Delgado, who was a big real estate guy from Hawaii. Marianne's laughing. She remembers him. This was in like it was 1985, I guess. I went and saw him. But he talked about a couple of books that changed his life, and this was one of the books. He said this one and Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz, which I also read. And they both are life-changing. But, you know, there's been so many iterations of this book since, because it's a universal truth. You know, what he covers, and because this first chapter, I don't want to get ahead of myself just because I've read the book so many times. I don't want to give too much away. But this first chapter is about desire. And about, like, the little girl in the sawmill, when she came in for the 50 cents, she had one purpose. She had that purpose in mind, and whatever happened between the time she set out to achieve that goal and in between, if she got a whipping or whatever happened, she was not stopping till she got what she wanted. And the same with Barnes, with Edison. You know, it says in here that no matter how many setbacks he had and it didn't seem like he was getting closer to his goal, he didn't let anything extinguish his desire. He spent that time intensifying his desire. You have to keep that desired goal in mind. In fact, I think that he said it was his definite major purpose. His definite major purpose was that goal. And as long as you have that goal in mind, you say, I don't care what happens between now and then. If it takes me 1 year or 20 years, I am getting to that goal. And if you have that in mind, you will achieve it. Like, I think it was Henry Ford, or maybe it was, no, it was Henry Ford who said, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Mm-hmm. And so it was great. It was appropriate that they used a Ford reference in here when he wanted the 8-cylinder engine in one block. And he had it in his head. He knew what he wanted. And he was going to send them back to the drawing board if it took 40 years. He was not quitting until he got what he wanted. And because he had that in mind, he created it. He manifested it. Wayne Dyer talks about it. Abraham Hicks talks about it. Your thoughts are things. They are tangible. They send frequencies out into the universe which reflect back to you. You become a magnet. So what you think about becomes real. You become what you think about most. Like Rebecca said, with the 5 people you hang out with most. You become what you think about most. Mm-hmm. So if you think about your debt and you think about, you know, even people who get into this business like myself, I'll find myself reflecting the reason I got in, which was to get rid of debt and those are negative things. I can't think about that. You have to think about, like they say in the solution, not the problem. You have to think about the goal, not the obstacles that may come up on your way to the goal. Just keep that. I mean, you have to put blinders on, and it has to be something that keeps you awake at night and makes you jump out of bed in the morning. You have to have that desire being foremost in your mind. And then everything, the solutions will appear, whether they come in the form that you were expecting. It's in the unexpected ways. Like you said, you know, 5-minute defeat usually is 5 minutes before your huge success. Your biggest failures happen within inches of your success. So don't give up, even through the biggest defeats. I mean, I've watched Eric Worre, a lot of Eric Worre videos, and all of these people said, I've had my tree fall apart 8 times. I've had to start from scratch 8, 9, 10 times, but I never gave up. And those are the people who are diamonds and double diamonds and triple diamonds now, because they, no matter what happened, what came down the pike, they never, ever gave up. They had that end result in mind, and they just kept blinders on. They just kept their eye on the prize. So that's what I took away from this chapter. So thank you for letting me share, and I'll turn it over back to Marianne.
That was just awesome. Awesome. I love our conversations. Christine and I, we talk a lot, and I'm a talker, you know, by nature, but when I'm on the phone with you, I'm like a listener. So I could definitely tell that, you know, you've read and you're educated on this stuff, and it's been a part of you only because of our conversations. You know, I get lost in it, and that's how I felt when I got the book. Like, first of all, the book didn't arrive. I ordered it on Amazon, and, you know, I knew we were going to start this thing tonight, and it was like Wednesday already, and the book didn't arrive, and I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to get this done and read, you know, for tonight. But what happened was, as soon as I picked up the book, it was like instantaneous. It pulled and grabbed me from the first chapter. So it was something that I couldn't put down, and it was something that I felt immediately drawn to, and especially when he started talking about the principles, because I've never read the book. I've known about the book, and I've known what it's done to people and their lives and how they swear by it, but it was like they talked about the 12 principles. So I skipped ahead to the next chapter, and I know that chapter 2 is going to be about desire. I know that. So it's like I feel after reading this chapter that I am compelled to learn more. I feel that right now. Like I want it, I want to learn. And when it comes to business, you see the leaders, you see how they interact with people and how they deal with obstacles. It's almost as if they already know that these obstacles are going to be a part of the journey, and it just doesn't take them out. It just doesn't. And I could tell you now that right now, the way that I feel about my life, my goals, my business, everything right now, it's like there's no obstacle that's going to stop me. There's just not. And I could tell that. So I feel that in reading this book, it's going to be almost fine-tuning. And they mentioned the secret, too, in the preface. I think that's what you meant when you said you've got to read the word by the author.
Yeah.
I wrote down a couple of things from the word from the author, and there's just a couple of things that resonated with me where he said there is no such thing as something for nothing. And we find that a lot in today's world. I don't know. People are looking for a free ride. People are looking for, to become a millionaire overnight, and they've got no skin in the game at all. And he outlined it pretty clear. There's no such thing as something for nothing, meaning there's a price to pay for what you desire, and the value of that is way worth more, way more than the price that you pay. And he really, really said education and all those things really have nothing whatsoever to do with it. It's about that burning desire that keeps you going no matter what. So, I'm super excited to, get into these 12 principles, that he talks about. And hopefully, because he did mention in the book, if you recognize the secret, and it may happen like in, the first chapter, second chapter, or the last chapter. I'm hoping I get it. I have my mind, my heart.
You will.
Really?
Yeah, you will. You will.
I'm hoping I get it. That's all. So, yeah. So this was a short chapter tonight, guys. So, less than 20 pages. So that's all I got for now.
Thanks, girls.
So back to you.
You're welcome. So join us next week. I agree with you guys. That chapter was one of the fastest chapters I've ever read in my life. I'm like, it's over already? That went by so fast. So I was good. I didn't dive into chapter 2 yet, you bad girls. But I'm excited to start it tonight, and we'll be meeting back here next week. Marianne and I and Christine are all going to be traveling next week. So I can tell you right now that this Connect is not going to be next Thursday at 6:30 p.m. because I'm going to be on an airplane then. But we will look at our schedules, and we'll post up when we're going to be able to do it this week. Maybe we can do it Tuesday or Wednesday or something. These chapters are small. They're very easy to get through, so I don't think we need a full week, but we'll discuss this and figure it out, and then we will get back to you. So have a wonderful evening.
One more thing, Rebecca. Hang on one sec. I just want to throw one more thing in there to you guys. Anybody that is watching these Hangouts with us, we would love to have you join. We want a panel full of I'm going to be looking at 6, 7, 8 people down here, because we learn from each other, and it's like getting everybody's take on their experience with the book. We learn from each other, so I want to throw it out there to everybody to participate with us. It's just a hangout. This isn't a training. It's not a professional thing. This is a place where we can come, hang out, and just share. So I'm really reaching out and having you guys reach out to us, asking you to reach out to us to see if you want to join us, okay? We welcome you. So that's it.
Yes, we would love to have you join us. Everyone have a good evening, and we will see you sometime next week. Again, we'll get it scheduled and we'll let you know. Have a wonderful night.
Take care.